that belief because he wasn't there.
Well, of course, this is his second spell at Manchester United. He was there as a youngster. How would you gauge the way he's improved compared to that first stint?
I think more it's about he's come back and maybe there's not as much arrogance in his game. I think there was always a question mark about him. Yes, you can see that there is a definite arrogance about him, but you need that as a top player because that's a little bit belief in your ability, and he's definitely got that. And there's definitely a style which has come back in which does suit Manchester United. The only problem is now is that Manchester United have got to adapt to where he is, and if you can put him in a side that plays that kind of football as what he does when he plays for France, then Manchester United can get back to become the kind of team that played the football that everyone enjoyed.
Thank you very much to Paul Parker. Of course, Paul Pogba did play for 2 seasons between 2010 and 2012. He turns 25 next March, and watch out for him in the 2018 World Cup in Russia, playing for France.
Be so pretty, but Manchester United get another victory to move back to just 11 points shy of Manchester City. They won 2-1 at West Bromwich Albion. Lukaku was on the score sheet, Jesse Lingard as well. How would you categorise the performance?
Well, effective, which is what Manchester United have been certainly over the last month or two. They get the job done, though not a whole lot else to write home about. They sit in second. I don't think anybody's going to catch Manchester City at this point. And that to second place and consolidating their position there is about the best we can ask of Manchester United right now.
Do you think that someone's going to catch them? Is this way of playing going to catch them out over the long run, or is Pogba going to help them solidify that second place?
I think Pogba is going to come when he comes back. They certainly look a far better outfit with Pogba in the park, no question about it. But even against, let's remember here, this is Manchester United away to second bottom West Brom, a West Brom team that have not won since August. Yet still, you get yourselves into a 2-0 lead, and they go back into this negative shape, and in the end, hanging on a little bit, and De Gea having to come up big again for Manchester United. The gulf between these two, in every single respect, is far wider than this performance would suggest. Now, you may be able to put this down as a one-off, or many fans would like to put this down as a one-off, but we've come to see this of Manchester United far too consistently over the last couple of months. If this continues, you do feel that maybe Chelsea up it a gear. You see Liverpool looking as good as it did against Bournemouth. Never mind the couple of disappointing performances before, but if anybody finds some consistency about their performances, I think they'll make a run at the second place. I don't think anybody is going to catch Manchester City regardless. But I think there are a couple of clubs that, if they find form, can put together a run and possibly unseat Manchester United, who seem very comfortable in second.
So United, they're not going to catch City, we don't think. Certainly not going to catch them in terms of style.
No.
So how do they become more effective? How does Mourinho change this to make Manchester United less dependent on
I don't think Mourinho can change this. It's not in his DNA. And we've seen it wherever he's been, certainly over his last couple of appointments. In his last title-winning season with Chelsea, they were by far and away the best team for the first half of the season. Then all of a sudden January came, and it was a matter of protecting that lead. It was a matter of sitting back, absorbing pressure, and then hitting on the counter and getting 3 points. And it became very dull. And in the end, it came back and kind of bit him in the behind, because he was out of a job, less than 3 months after winning a title? 4 months after winning a title. And you just kind of wonder if that is history repeating itself, albeit in the red of Manchester United. I'm not sure that he's the manager. I'm not sure that he has the tools. As good as Manchester United were in the first 7 or 8 games of the season, I think they've been equally disappointing in the last 7 or 8.
Okay, well, the season still has, of course, a very long while to run. Is this as good as it gets under Jose Mourinho for Manchester United? Keep it here at ESPN FC.
Mkhitaryan made it get a game in the famed Carabao Cup, but other than that, seems to be on the outs for Jose Mourinho. What next for Mkhitaryan?
think it's actually called the Carabao Cup, but who am I to correct you? I think there is a small chance he might actually start again. He's been frozen out completely for the last couple of months. We've been there before, of course, last season. Remember, the start for him was terrible. And then when he came back, played pretty well. And Jose Mourinho said, you see, I just had to handle him and he needed to learn. But it increasingly looks as if he's a little bit lost in the way that United play. They play with a very kind of fast midfield. They don't really dwell on the ball. They go and try and hit either the players either side of Lukaku or Lukaku straight away. And Mkhitaryan playing deep in that role next to or behind Pogba, he can't really get enough of the ball to play his game. And I think he's been demoralised. His confidence is blown. And Mourinho doesn't look as if he's actually that interested in restoring that confidence, opting to perhaps cut his losses and move him on. That's certainly the vibe that you're getting, that there isn't really that patience to sit and work with him to make this happen, because I think his mind is already on who's going to come in next year, who's going to improve us a lot better.
And you mentioned that lack of patience, Raf. Any chance that Mkhitaryan could thus become the next De Bruyne or Salah, someone who there wasn't any patience for earlier on in their career?
Yeah, I think it's very possible, because we have seen already what Mkhitaryan can do. We saw it at Shakhtar, we certainly saw it at Dortmund under Thomas Tuchel, where he was absolutely outstanding, had interest from all over Europe. I think if you were to put him on the market in January, there'd be a lot of interest for him, especially for Italy, where his stock is really, really high still. Of course, his agent is Mino Raiola, that helps. So it might come back to haunt him. Maybe not as much as Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah and Lukaku, of course, who had to come back to a Mourinho club for a lot of money. But it is a player that for whatever reason doesn't work with Mourinho, but it doesn't mean he's not going to work somewhere else pretty well.
Team of the week, no Paul Mariner. He's in Rome, actually, this weekend.
Might be all right then.
Eating pineapple pizza in Rome. But anyway,
Okay.
less of that, more on Marcotti and Nichols then, team of the week. Stevie?
I didn't have Lanzini. As well as he played, I actually had Coutinho. I didn't have Gomez. I mean, he's playing against Bournemouth. They won 4-0 away from home. He had nothing to do. And I didn't have Agbona. Again, I thought he played well. I actually had Cresswell.
Did you have Roy Hodgson?
I did. Big time one away from home, eh? 3-0.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. Hey, who saw that coming?
What?
Hey, nobody. Hey. Gab didn't see it coming.
What? Gab, how does this compare to your preferred team of the week?
Well, I'm responsible for Lanzini. Coutinho, obviously a great shout, but as I wrote, I thought quite poetically, Lanzini is the poor man's Coutinho.
Well, as you
in
wrote,
the sense
Gab,
that he does exactly what Coutinho does. He just does it worse, and he just doesn't do it as often.
Do you write anything?
But I like to think there's a certain...
What do you write?
We have to put a line. After we pick somebody, we have to put a line explaining why we picked them.
You do it as poetically as Gab?
And by the way, I'd love to know what Gab put when he picked Joe Gomez. Gab, what could you possibly say that Joe Gomez did? Because he had nothing to do.
That's what I wrote. He had nothing to do.
Well, how'd you get in the team of the week if you didn't do anything?
Because,
that don't make any sense, does it?
well, I thought there were no other high-end right-back performances
Kyle Walker?
other than possibly in the City game, but there's enough City players in there already. And
What's it got to do with how
Joe
many
Gomez,
players from one
you know,
team get in? That's not the point of team of the week. The point of team of the week, who are
Well,
the best
I'm really
players.
glad that the other
so just
guy I
because there was
suggested,
more City players you don't put another one in, and you put Joe Gomez in, who did not. That makes sense, doesn't it?
They won 4-0. And also,
he didn't do
well,
anything.
then I'm really glad. I'm really glad the other Liverpool player I suggested, who did not get in, you didn't see him because it would have wound you up. Because I had Dejan Lovren in there instead of your buddy Scott Dan. Because he showed bravery and he scored a goal.
Yes.
He showed bravery.
And he shut down Jermaine Defoe,
Take
the
that.
sniper.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Big time. Aye, that was a great race. And by the way, he nearly got beat in a foot race with Jermaine Defoe, who's 49.
Give him a little
Jermaine
bit of
Defoe has those little legs. They run quicker over short distances.
Yep.
Come on, man. You know that.
It's just,
Yeah. Carl Lewis was what, 5'2"? Is that why he did well?
Good.
Because he had those little legs running. Dan must be fast because he's probably 5'1".
Take that,
You must be
Bolt.
quick.
Yeah.
Those little legs.
Yep. I'm like a cartoon character. That is it. Just time the countdown to the holidays, of course, continues. If anyone would like to make any suggestions as to what Craig could buy his wife.
It's been a topic of discussion.
It has been a discussion.
I'm relying on him.
Shaka
That's a mistake.
Shaka suggested theatre tickets, and Craig went, do I have to go as well?
Fair question.
Theatre may not be my thing.
Well, that's a shock.
I've been to the odd concert now and again.
Yes? What was the last concert you went to?
Bryan Adams.
Oh.
I've been to a couple of his concerts. Yeah. I went to see David Fairty.
It's not really a concert, is it?
Well, if he's singing, it didn't sing, but it was still. Nicole was there. We took the wives, took the wives to
enjoy them. Let's go and see Fairty.
Enjoy golf stories.
Okay.
So I'm stuck, yeah. But she doesn't want. I don't think she wants anything this year.
Go with that.
I don't think that's the approach you want.
Go with the gut instinct.
That'll work out really well.
Listen to the man who's been out buying shoes.
Oh, don't ruin the surprise.
I haven't been out. I haven't been out.
Did it online.
How is it a surprise for me to say that and you tell her she's not getting anything?
Well, that would be a surprise.
That is a surprise.
Hey, the boss is in my ear saying to move on. Doesn't like it.
Sorry, she won't watch this, will she?
It's down to I'm sick, and
it's not the most exciting.
What is this going to? Cold rem. I am sick, but I am a battler. I don't complain about it.
Yeah, but whatever your cold remedy is, whatever the go-to is, don't use it anymore.
It just won't go anymore.
Move on to something else, because that's not working.
It's all clogged up, isn't it? All the sinuses.
You're not getting rid of these ailments very quickly.
Well, thanks.
It's worrying.
For telling me that.
But it is worrying. Have you?
Are you concerned about me?
No.
Yeah. I'm just worried about your
concerned
lifestyle.
About the rest of us.
He's telling me to move on again.
You've had quite a few days off, haven't you?
What do you mean?
Been noted. I mean, it's...
Hey. Manu had 6 weeks off because of his back. Is Wayne Rooney getting enough love considering most pundits wrote him off at the beginning of the season?
He's doing all right. Look, as Everton have got better, he's got better. I think it's hard to blame. Just look at him and say he was playing badly because he was in a team that were awful under Koeman. So yeah, he's done all right.
4th top scorer in the Premier League.
Is he?
And that he's not getting enough love.
Go on then.
Lots of love to you, Wayne.
Lots of love to you.
Lots of love.
With the crazy football rulings going on in the NFL, what's the craziest ruling situation you've ever been in or seen?
Oh boy.
It's a tough one. By the way, that was a catch. I don't care what people are saying.
Yeah, people are trying to tell me that wasn't a catch. It looks like a catch.
Feels like a catch, looks like a catch, but this rule.
Well, Peter Walton was involved in one.
Is that when he forgot his yellow cards?
And he just raised his hand. So that was, I mean, it wasn't playing in that game.
The beach ball is always one of the strange ones.
Beach ball came on the pitch.
Was that Stadium of Light against
Liverpool? Yeah. That's good too.
What about you, Shaq? Surely in Trinidad there must be some strange old things.
Why you got to go there?
Single up out like that.
No, I'm just suggesting that you must have seen some things.
No, never.
No?
Never.
Not a crazy thing on the
Not a
what
crazy
about
thing.
off the pitch, Shaq?
Well, that's a different story.
I've never seen anything crazy in Trinidad either.
You're due one of those trips, isn't you?
Exactly.
my
When is
wife
Carnival?
watches?
That's normally Champions
one of
League.
those trips where you
February.
February?
12th and 13th.
You know that very well.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I'm not going.
Oh, it's Champions League, isn't it?
What?
I'm not going.
That's an upset right there.
Oh, that picture of you in the feathers is
I
fantastic.
don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Seriously, get off. Get off.
They're hurrying us up today.
Enforcers. Who are the chopper enforcers? What, in London? At the moment. On the pitch? The Premier League. Around the stadiums.
Premier League enforcers, they rate the current Premier League enforcers, but all of you have had experience of previous eras in the Premier League, which used to be known...
You should go to somebody who plied his trade in East London.
Well, it used to be known for bad boys, for hard men, enforcers, whatever you want to call
ones.
Who sticks out for you in terms of players who may have fit that
Vinnie
mould?
Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, notorious. Nasty as well. Nasty.
So we're talking about just people who just blatantly go around kicking people. That's neither a hard man nor an enforcer. That's just That's just a.
So who were you pick as an enforcer?
That's Craig's old teammate you're talking about, Vinnie Jones.
Played with him, played against him. No, but see, here's the difference with the mindset. If you ask a supporter, maybe intrigued, an editor who set this up, may be intrigued, but their perception of what they would call a hard man wouldn't be necessarily how we would see it, because we would kind of laugh at the notion of you'd be frightened of somebody on the pitch, because you wouldn't be. But I mean, if you're just looking at big, strong, guys that were physical. Stuart Pearce was a physical fullback, went over the top, sometimes was big and strong, was aggressive in your face.
His nickname was Psycho, wasn't it?
But it didn't, Vinnie Jones there's been, Graham Souness was Souness was hard, but he was dirty. I mean, I didn't play against Graham Souness, it was before my time, but he was as dirty as they would come, but as well as hard.
But then we grew up knowing who on the field was going to be hard and who was going to be dirty. So depending on who you saw coming, is how you actually went for the ball as well. If it was Vinnie Jones, you knew you had to go over the top of the ball, because otherwise you were going to get it.
The difference for me as well, being a goalkeeper, is I'm up against strikers for the most part, and not having to deal with dirty players or enforcers in the middle of the field. One that comes to mind for me, Duncan Ferguson, probably was the biggest physical challenge for me. Was the biggest physical challenge for me as a goalkeeper. I got a few of them a couple of times. But again, I wouldn't say he was dirty, but you knew you were in a game when up against.
I'll simplify this.
Someone like Roy Keane.
Roy was a hard.
Describe him. He was the classic midfield enforcer.
Vieira was a hard, tough guy. Right? He was He was quiet at times, but he was a tough guy. Right? Roy was a tough guy. Wouldn't shy away. But there's an easier way to do this. Just put the 1 to 11 up from Millwall in the early 80s and then leave it at that.
Not us.
Because they were crazy. Absolutely crazy.
You always used to say your Liverpool team in their prime, they were all hard men, yeah? Kenny Dalglish even, he would cut you down.
But it's not, again, it's a completely different, as Craig said, we have a different perception on it. You got a guy like Ronnie Whelan, right? There's not one person has ever said to me Ronnie Whelan was either hard or dirty. But I'll tell you what, he did a few people when he played. You wouldn't want to
be on the end of his tackles?
No, because he was smart, he was clever, he understood who was coming, he understood when and when not. All of those little things, and as you said, I keep saying, look, if you want a game of football, our teams can play football against you. But if you wanted to fight, then we could also fight you.
I've just thought of one, and I shouldn't have forgot this. Mick Harford.
Oh, yeah. Big burly Mick.
Big Mick. Right? Big Mick, quietly spoken, from the North East. Played around England, played for England. I was at Chelsea with him at the end of his career. Big Mick was nasty.
There's a feeling and a thought and opinion out there that sort of player does not now patrol Premier League waters. Is that wrong?
No, you can't do that today. The things that these players that we were just been talking about, the things they used to do on the field of play, they wouldn't last 2 minutes. They would spend more time suspended and sitting on the backside than they would playing the game. The way the rules are, the way the game's refereed, particularly today, players just they wouldn't be on the field.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. I think, yes, the game has to protect its prized assets, as it were, and just to have players running around the field, kicking each other, that time is gone, and I hope we never see it return.
It was fun, though.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the art of the perfectly timed tackle.
The art of the perfectly timed broken leg. No thanks. No thanks.
Go look up Vinnie Jones's tackle in the 1988 FA Cup final in the first minute on YouTube.
Because he's stupid.
For a challenge that wasn't even
stupid.
It wasn't even penalised. It wasn't even.
Well,
he missed them and all, by the way.
Your mate Steve McMahon.
Well, he never got him. He missed them.
What, he missed them?
Never enough to get him.
Of course, Micah was so scared after that.
Why he didn't celebrate? I didn't celebrate too, and nobody was happier than me. It's just a question of profile,
You didn't look very happy.
No, but I'm happy. I'm happy with the victory, But 15 years ago, I look myself celebrating goals, and sometimes now I feel a bit ashamed with that. But with maturity, I think you go into levels where you control your emotions better, unless, I repeat, you score a winning goal in the last stage of the game. But basically, I think also Romelu had the fact that he was a happy kid at West Bromwich Albion. He was a kid that was giving all the conditions here to have the evolution he had. So probably also in the back of his mind is that love for the club. I keep saying the same. Last match in the Premier League, Watford at Old Trafford, mid-May or so, and until then, every match we go, every match we try to win, because if you do that question to us, and then you do the same question to the third, and to the fourth, and to the fifth, and to the sixth, probably they disappear. Probably they want to go on holidays. We don't want to go on holidays. We want to play until the last match. Valencia injury is what I call December injury. Is the injury of the accumulation of fatigue. Is a muscular one. Hamstring, big, small, medium, I don't know. Let's wait. I think he's an experienced guy for not to let it go to difficult limits. But is the injury of the fatigue. Everyone in the Premier League, especially the ones with more accumulation of cups and European cups, they are at risk.
Picked the wrong team today, really. The boys gives me so much at Liverpool, and obviously I'm getting to know them, but I didn't think we had that energy in the first half that we need against Man United. It was too comfortable for them. We couldn't get any pressure on them. We got a full house here, and we're giving them, and it was quiet because we were giving them nothing to get excited about. Couple of moments from Ollie, and that was about it in the first half. I would be worried tonight if we had 6-7 games left. We've got 18 games to get our season really up and running, and we got to make we're on catch up with some of the teams above us, and the margins and the difference between those squads and the managers that are in charge is not great. Trust me, it isn't. Good managers down the bottom of the league and some good teams, good squads. So we now got to make it up, and we ain't going to make it up playing like that in the first half. Like we played at Liverpool, like we played second half, like we played first half at Swansea, like we did against Crystal Palace. Play with a bit more conviction in what we're doing, and ambition. You can't win games unless you have ambition. And it was only really when Gareth Barry came on today and Bruntley that we looked to me like we had the ambition to go and get something.
Meeting required to see who MLS teams are going to be playing in the CONCACAF Champions League. The round of 16 matchups set for February. Just want to get your thoughts, Jeff, generally. An MLS team, this remains the holy grail, doesn't it? MLS team has yet to win the CONCACAF Champions League. The calendar has shifted a bit this year. Does this give them the chance to do it? Thinking particularly of the recently crowned champions Toronto, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I think Toronto has as good a shot as probably any MLS team has had. You know, when you think about the depth of their roster, the talent level that Tim Bezbatchenko and Greg Vanney have been able to accumulate, but their path, to get to the final is going to be really challenging. You know, if they get past the Colorado Rapids, in the round of 16, which I expect them to do, then they're probably looking at playing Tigres, who are the reigning champions, in the next round, and then perhaps Club America after that. So the path to the final is going to be really difficult for Toronto. Granted, I think they're by far the best team, in MLS at the moment, but it's definitely going to be difficult, and certainly, until someone can break through. I mean, that question is always going to be raised.